welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I have read 77 books so far this year, and I didn't like some of them, so let's chat about it. Some very quick disclaimers before we get in. Disclaimer number 1. If your favorite book is on this list, I'm not attacking you. I'm so happy that it worked for you because that means that it found its right audience. I'm no shade to the authors who wrote these books. It just means that it didn't work for me, and I'm going to tell you why. Second disclaimer. What was my other disclaimer? I feel like there was another one that I was going to say. You know what? I don't remember. If it comes to me, maybe I'll tell ya. Who knows? Let's get into it. There's only 4 books on this list, which is pretty amazing considering that I've read 77 books this year. I'm going to be telling you mostly about my 2-star reads. I haven't had any 1-star reads this year, right? Yes. I haven't had any 1-star reads this year. So that's a win to me. I've only had 4 2-star reads, and I want to think about all my 3-star reads because to me, a 3-star doesn't mean that I didn't necessarily like it. It just means it wasn't my fave, and it was kind of mid, hence the 3-star, because that's what's right in between, right? So yeah, let's just hop right in. So, the first book that I did not like this year, I read in January, and that was The Book Eaters by Sunye Dean. This book is about, what is it even about? Honestly, I had to relook at the synopsis, and I'm trying really hard to remember exactly what I didn't like about this book, but basically this book is about a society in which there are people who are born as book eaters, meaning that they get their knowledge and their sustenance from eating books, and sometimes from book eaters are born mind eaters. And the mind eaters have to eat human brains to have their sustenance, and also they gain that person's knowledge and memories and things. So we are following a character named Devon who has a son, and her son is a mind eater and she is a book eater. And so it's kind of following her journey as a mother, trying to protect her son from himself and from others, and to raise him in this scenario, and also kind of breaking free from the expectations that she has from her family and from the society of book eaters and mind eaters. What really didn't work for me in this book, from what I can remember about it, to be completely honest, is the character development. The character development felt kind of forced to me, Devon's character development in particular, because that's the main person that you're following. And especially when it comes to the romance, because she pushes away everybody and doesn't trust anybody, but then she trusts the love interest, who I can't remember her name right now. Whatever her name is, she just kind of accepts her pretty quickly, and it just didn't seem like it felt like it was just like in there to be in there, the romance that is, instead of like really having a lot of base or value or adding to the story in any way. And I'm sorry that I can't tell you exactly why I didn't like this, because I don't remember. And I think that's another thing that plays into it, is that for me this is a pretty forgettable book. And I was looking forward to it, but I don't really remember that much happened to it. I don't remember exactly why I didn't like it, but I know I didn't. So there's that. The next time I had a 2-star wasn't until June. So that's pretty good. Quite a few months without having a 2-star. And that was Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I was really excited to read this book because I really have enjoyed Leigh Bardugo's writing in the past. I've read the Six of Crows duology. I have not read the Grishaverse books, like Shadow and Bone, those ones. I haven't read the Six of Crows duology since I was in high school. So it's been a long time since I read anything from Leigh Bardugo, but I remembered that I really liked those books, and so I was excited to get into it. She's a very popular author, and this was a very popular book. So this book is following a girl named Alex, which is short for Galaxy, by the way, which I think was just an interesting choice. Anyway, Alex. She basically is part of this secret society at Yale? Harvard? Where are they? I'm sorry that I cannot remember the details of these books. Hold on, let me check. Yale, they're at Yale, okay. Like, I knew that they were at one of the Ivy League schools, but I couldn't remember which one. At Yale, that basically they keep these secret societies who are magical in check and make sure that their magic doesn't get used too powerfully, but obviously it is being used to put people in power who they want in power, and you are following her as she's trying to kind of solve mystery, and she's learning about these various societies. Now, the number one thing that I did not like about this book, which is also a trigger warning for this book, is that there is a lot of sexual assault in it. And I don't think that it's bad for sexual assault to be in books necessarily if it's sharing an experience, because unfortunately sexual assault does happen and it's horrific and it's awful, and I wish that it didn't. And I think that it is naive to just say, oh, you should just never include it in any books, because that's not real life, right? But for me, this was too much. And, you know, if it's not something that you have a hard time reading about, then you might be, you know, it might not bug you as much. But for me, I had a really hard time reading about it, and it was too graphic. It was too graphic for me, and there was just so much of it in there that it made it really, really difficult for me to read this book. So that was kind of my main thing, and I would like to put it as a trigger warning out there for you, or content warning, whatever you want to call it, that if that's something that you're sensitive to reading about, maybe don't pick this one up, because it is in there quite a bit. I also I didn't love the relationship with her and the guy. What's his name? I don't know. I can't remember what the other character's name is. Again, I'm sorry I don't remember every detail about these books, but I didn't love their dynamic, and it felt a little bit forced to me, and just in general, it kind of fell flat. So it just wasn't an enjoyable read for me, and the world was interesting, like it was an interesting premise, but I just felt like I didn't quite get enough from it. So that was Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Very big bummer, very big bummer. The next time that I had a 2-star, oh yeah, it was The Last Word by Taylor Adams. This book is insane. It's so insane, which I think it's supposed to be, but it's insane. So this book is about a woman who leaves a bad review on a book, and then the author starts stalking her and trying to kill her. Majority of this book is the author in her house trying to kill her. I don't think that's a spoiler. I think it's in the synopsis that that's what he's trying to do. But this is such a high action book, and I think that it is supposed to be kind of satirical, and so I think if you look at it at that lens, through that lens, then it makes more sense as to why it's so crazy. But it just was not my type of book. It was too graphic, it was too violent for me personally, and it was just so nonsensical, and I just didn't like the main character. I am going to put, okay, I'll put spoilers up on the screen. If you don't want spoilers for this book, you can skip ahead to this time code, but I do want to talk about this, so I am going to talk about spoilers. Here we go. Spoiler time. One of the main things that I really hated about this book was, so kind of, you know, she's running away from her past, and it's insinuated throughout the whole book that her husband is dead, but then you find out that it's not her husband that is dead, it's her baby that died. And her husband is still alive and still wants her to come home and be with her, and she ran away because it was her fault that her baby died because she caused a car accident. What I didn't like was oh, it wasn't your fault that this car accident happened. Girl, yes it was. She was reading an email. She was on her phone while she was driving and reading an email and got in a car accident. Her husband could have read that email for her. You know, like, it just, don't drive distracted, okay? Especially if you have a baby in the car. And I don't think that this woman, like, I'm not saying that she should, like, live with this, like, super heavy grief and feel guilty all the time. That's not what I'm saying. Like, I don't think she deserves to, like, feel guilty all the time. But I didn't like that they were like, it's not your fault. Yes, it is. It was your fault. And that's something that you have to accept and move forward from. And you can definitely grieve that baby and miss that baby and wish that didn't happen. But, like, it's silly to say it's not your fault. So that's kind of a small detail. Also, I didn't like that there was a child death in it. I have children. I have one that is 14 months old and one that's currently in the womb. And I just, you know, this time of my life, I don't want to read about any babies dying. At all. Not here for it. Don't want to read about it. Don't want to know. Yes, I know that happens in real life, but I don't want to hear about it. So, that's The Last Word. It is just an insane book. It really is. Only one left. That's great. Unfortunately, it was Cold Clay by, what's the author's name? Juniper Black? Juno Black. I was looking at my edition of Shady Hollow is over there. I really liked Shady Hollow. That's the first book in the series. Cold Clay is the second. Basically, you're following a fox named Vera Vixen who is a reporter, and it's just a cozy little town of animals, and then, you know, little animals die and she's got to figure it out. Okay, I think my baby just woke up, so I'm gonna wrap this up as fast as I can. If you hear her fussing in the background, I'm sorry. Basically, you're following this reporter named Vera Vixen. Shady Hollow worked really well for me. I thought it was cozy, I thought it was a fun time. Cold Clay, I didn't like as much. The character development, just where did it go? It just disappeared, you know what I mean? And the romance stuff, the miscommunication, I just wasn't here for it. I wasn't. I didn't enjoy it. The mystery wasn't as good to me. It just fell flat, and it made me sad. And I think that I would continue on in the series. Maybe I'll read the next one, and hopefully it's better. But it just made me sad, because I really liked Shady Hollow, but I really didn't like Cold Clay. So, there it is, my least favorite reads of 2023. There were only 4 of them. So I think that that's really, really good. Overall, I think it's been a great reading year, and I want to know what books didn't work for you this year. I also would like to put this out here. Oh, maybe this was my other disclaimer. I don't think it was, but this will be another disclaimer, I guess. Is that I DNF'd a lot of books this year, and I don't have any problem DNFing. I think a big part of that is because I get 99% of my books from the library, and it's really easy to just click return. I read through the Libby app on my phone, and yeah, if I'm not vibing with a book, if I don't like it, then I DNF it. To me, it's not worth spending the time reading it, and if I'm not liking it, you know, why would I spend my very little spare time that I have reading a book that I hate? You know what I mean? So, I DNF'd a lot. I don't know how many. I would have to like go through my Libby app and see if I could figure it out. But yeah, I think overall having 4 books that I didn't like is pretty good when I've read 77. I will say this is not accounting for the month of December. I'm filming this at the beginning of the month. As of now, I haven't finished any books this month, which is fine. And I'm just really optimistic that I don't hate any books this month. I don't think I will. But yeah, tell me what books you didn't like this year. What didn't work for you? What did work for you? I will have a favorites video coming out soon, so you can be looking forward to that. Don't worry, I'm not just a hater. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!